Hello guys and girls, welcome back to another episode on the Falcon YouTube channel. Hope you're all doing really well. And again, we appreciate you watching the content, all the love and support turning up every single week. So we get a lot of questions, as you can imagine. They always flood in, they always vary. And something that comes up a lot, and we see this in the news and the media as well, is Forex trading gambling? I want to dig into this topic because I think there's a lot of people that have a lot of naive comments, and so many of you may be even thinking about getting involved in Forex, but because you hear one comment, you think, oh, it's gambling. Let's actually look into that and get a bit of context to it to understand what it actually means. Is it gambling? I'm sure a lot of you have had comments. Let me know in the comments below if you've had friends and family make those kind of comments when you're trading and they say things like, oh, isn't that gambling? And they don't really understand. Remember, people fear what they don't understand. So let's get into the topic a little bit. Firstly, what we need to understand is that when we think about gambling, what do we think of? We think of things like casino. So we think about casino, roulette, all these kind of things, blackjack, you name it. And we know that's gambling and we associate with that. But then when we have Forex trading, we make the comments, oh, isn't that a little bit of gambling there? Remember, gambling is when you're going into something where the odds are not stacked in your favor. So if you're going into the roulette, the odds are not stacked in your favor, regardless if you've got this magic system for it. But for the masses, for the majority, if you're going into a casino, you're going in and you're gambling. But what else is gambling? Isn't buying a house gambling? Isn't getting into a relationship gambling? So many things are gambling. Isn't crossing the road without looking gambling? Yet we're making all these decisions and then we make these kind of comments that don't really make sense. Because think about it like this. Is it the system that is gambling, so Forex trading or stock trading or business for that matter, or is it the individual? So what do I mean by that? Well, remember, when you're trading something, you want to have an edge. So in the casino situation, the casino has the edge. When you're Forex trading, you have a system in place where you now have the edge. So we're not gambling at this stage. We're actually treating it like a business, and then we've got a process to follow and we've got a system to follow. So really, when you've got an edge, your edge is only as good as your risk management attached to it. So what do I mean by that? You could have a great edge, but if you're risking 20% of your account per trade, and let's say 4 or 5 trades out of pure probabilities don't play out, your account's gone. So it doesn't matter what edge you've got, your risk isn't in place. So remember, in business, would you go into business and you've just got this idea of something, you don't know whether there's any kind of research demand whatsoever, and then you just commit pretty much 90% of your investment of what you've got into stock of things that you don't even know that is any demand for it? Isn't that a gamble? But no, you would do your research in place first. But yet when it comes to Forex, people point the finger straight away about, isn't that gambling? Think about it. These same people are happy to move in with someone they've just met 3 months ago. Isn't that a gamble? Someone you barely met, or they'll get married to them in the first 6 months and then have a kid a year later. Isn't that a gamble from someone that you've just met? Yet they'll get into a mortgage for 35 years in a job that they don't know that they're going to be secure for. Isn't that a gamble? Getting into business, isn't that a gamble? Remember, it's all about educated decisions. But within Forex, it's all about the system, understanding, do you have an edge? What is your risk attached to that? And the individual itself. So really and truly, to point the finger towards any system for that matter is really, really naive, because it just comes down to the individual themselves. So let's say, for example, you've been thinking about getting into Forex. If you go in and let's say you've got £10,000 account, you're starting off and you decide, I'm going to risk 10% of my account, right? You're risking £1,000 per position. Now in trading, for those of you that don't know, we have wins, we have losses, we have break-evens. We will never know the sequence of our wins and losses because it's probabilities. You just don't know that. So it's not uncommon if you took 3 losses in a row. You can still be a great trader and do that. But let's say, for example, you're risking 10% of your account per trade and you've gone from 10,000, let's say down to 7,000. What are the kind of emotions you're going to be thinking right now? How are you going to be feeling about trading at this stage? £3,000 down. This is where the emotions come involved, like revenge trading, because you think, I need to make that 3 grand back. So you start risking double. You now go to, if 10% wasn't already bad as it is, you now go to 20%. You start risking, let's say, £2,000 per position, because you say, well, do you know what? Let me just make it back. Once I do that, I won't do it ever again. These are the people that blow their accounts. So you need to understand, it's about your edge and your risk management attached to it. So gambling is the individual themselves. So to tarnish stock trading, business, Forex trading or anything, it's just naive at its best. So understanding that it is the individual itself. So if you yourself, if you're a gambler, if you're betting on the horses every week and you're betting on the football, all kinds of sports, and you're just risking loads of money and the edge is not in your favor, but just sometimes it plays out, then yeah, of course it's a gamble. But if you're going into, let's say, Forex trading, and you've got a system in place, like at Falcon, what we do is we treat it like a business. We cover all of these different angles, and then we've got a process involved. We've got our risk management. We only risk 1% of our account per trade, so we're in the low end of that. Some people risk 3%, some people risk 5%, some people just do whatever they feel like, and I think that that's a strategy. But that's neither here or there. The truth be told, if you treat it like a business, so you're managing your risk, you're ASRing yourself. So what we do is that we're always reviewing ourselves, not just our performance, we're reviewing our psychology. So we're looking at our mindset, we're looking at trades that we missed. We're always reviewing each and individual process, treating it like a business. We're not just going in with a mindset that, buy and sell here just because a little bit of news that came out, or you're chucking, if you don't know about Forex, you're chucking Bloomberg on and you're thinking, oh, this might affect this. So, Brexit, the pound's getting a little bit stronger or weaker, let me get involved here. Again, you need a system and you need a strategy in place. So I wouldn't really go as far as saying Forex trading is gambling. It's the individuals. If you bring me a gambler that is risking all of their money on the sports every week and you give them Forex trading, then of course Forex is gambling, because they themselves will make it that way. So it's the ability of the individual to be able to just stick to risk. Think about it. If you're risking 1%, let's say our model, you're risking 1% of your account per trade, and you're, let's say, trading a £10,000 account. If you're trading a 10k account, you're risking £100 per trade. So how many times do you have to be wrong? How many times do you have to be wrong until you blow that account? It becomes very difficult. You will almost get winning trades just out of not even knowing what you're doing. You couldn't put that many trades on in a row and not just out of not knowing what you're doing, actually get a win. So it becomes very difficult to blow your account. So when people say that to me, what we know is pretty much the 100% guaranteed thing. They've risked way too much. So they've decided based off of how they feel, this trade feels good. So I'm gonna double up on this one, which completely defies the law of probabilities. Because think about it from a probabilistic perspective. And if you're a trader, you'll know where I'm going with this. Probabilities suggest that you don't know the sequence of your wins and losses. So how on earth could you in that moment say, but this ticks all the boxes, this is a higher criteria, it's got this, it's got this, it's got the Fibonacci, it's got that, however you trade for that matter. It ticks all of these 10 boxes and then it doesn't play out. But you decided you want to risk 10% of your account on that trade and it didn't play out. Why is that? Does that mean that you done the wrong thing there? Was the trade wrong? Was you wrong? You wasn't right and you wasn't wrong. The only part that you done wrong is that you didn't stick to your plan and you risked 10% of your account. Where if you would have risked 1% or 2% all the way through, so sticking just to one number, then you would let probabilities play out, because you can actually take a trade that is not the perfect setup, but it's still a good enough criteria that meets your plan, and that one might bank you more than the one that actually has all of the highest criteria boxes ticked, because it's probabilities. And when you get that into your head and realize that, you'll see trading in a completely different way. And sometimes the worst thing that can happen is that you do feel good about a trade. It looks amazing. It's got all of the boxes ticked and you go, yeah, let's triple on this one or quadruple or whatever. And it actually works out, because then what you start to do is that you hold on to the hope that, let's say you turned, I don't know, X amount into X amount. You're always going to attach onto that feeling, just like how people in the betting industry, when they win on an accumulator, and I've been there, I've done that before. I've never been a big gambler by heart, but I've put bets on sports and things like that. And I remember one time I made, I think it was like £600, something like that, and it was off of pretty much a £1 bet, 600 to 1. Insane that, right? We could get that all the time, we'd be happy, right? So in this situation, I remember, and then I would put it on again and again. I remember it was on the La Liga, it was in the Spanish teams, it was Barcelona, all of these ones, and I just got it right. I think it was about 8 teams, and I remember feeling I was actually a little bit attached to that, thinking, well, that's quite nice. If I just do 5 or 6 or 10, that would have been 6,000 or 10,000. And we kind of always hope, and then we attach onto that. But it doesn't matter if I lose, and I could lose all these times in a row. We only need one of those to come in. See, it's the very gamblish mindset that they've got. It's the same within trading. So it only takes one invincible win to happen, where you've banked 40% in a day or 40% in 1 month, or whatever it may be, where you've gambled, for you to attach onto that, create bad habits and continue that process. And it doesn't matter how many times you lose, because you think, well, I need one of those and I'll be back on top again. Yet that's the quickest way to be vulnerable, psychologically messed up, blow your accounts, and never succeed in this industry. So remember, guys and girls, if there's anything that you've taken away from this episode, is that Forex trading is not gambling. You yourself are the gambler, and it's up to you to make the decision. Are you going to treat it like a business and stick to risk, have an edge and a system in place, or are you just going to start risking whatever you want? And then of course you're gambling. So the next time someone gives you that comment, point them towards this video. If you're thinking about trading, getting involved in anything for that matter, whether it be stock trading, Forex, business, they're all gambles if you don't approach it in the right way. But if you can learn to treat things like a business, then you can have it systematic, and it is exactly the opposite to gambling. It is treating it like a business, and that is what is going to get you to success in the long run. So hope that's given you a bit of perspective, something to think about, and opened up your eyes, because these comments fly in all the time, but really you could apply this to anything. Just keep things simple, have a system in place, and treat things like a business. Guys and girls, hope you've enjoyed this episode. Looking forward to the things that we've got coming in the works as well. We're going to kind of go down a bit of a different route and a different approach. Something that I want to bring to the table a lot more is trading psychology. I don't think a lot of people understand it as much as they think they do. They've read Trading in a Zone, maybe a couple of other books, but yet they're so focused and fixated on, let's say, trading psychology, that they don't know their own psychology. They're not looking at mind management. They're not looking at the whole picture. They're just going, trading psychology, that's all I need to know. But yet they're still not getting the results. Why is that? Because they've got limiting beliefs about all kinds of other things. But we'll get into that, and I think you're going to take lots of value away from it. But guys and girls, have an incredible weekend ahead. Thanks for watching as always, and we'd love to know in the comments your number one takeaway. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video, because this is kind of one of these videos that people really need to hear, and we would appreciate it. But guys and girls, have an incredible weekend. Speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.